Franklin Walter Smith. That's Frank to you and me. That's what we all know him as. Frank came into this world on October 21st of 1943. Born to Buck and Eloise Perry Smith, he was their third child of 4 sons that they would raise. Buck happened to be the teacher and principal that looked over Frank as he attended the local school in Oxford. In 1940, Buck would make a decision that would change Frank's life indefinitely. With the passing of Juddy Perry, Buck decided to buy the family farm from Teresa Perry. It was on this piece of property that Frank would be born, and to this day he still prides himself in being able to say that he can walk outside, stand on his front porch, and see the spot where he was born. Things began to change quickly for the Smith family in 1950 because Buck decided to leave teaching and utilize the farm that he had purchased from the Perry family. He started his own feed yard, grew corn, and did some custom hay baling on the side. Frank looked on, and a seed was planted that would grow for a lifetime. It was here that Frank would learn to love watching cattle grow and get fat. As the Smith boys grew up, they were involved in 4-H, playing sports, and loving the outdoors. Frank happened to be the first athlete ever at Lake Weir High School to have a varsity letter in all 4 sports. When the Smith boys weren't in school, or they weren't helping out on the family farm, they spent their summer times in the melon patch. That's something Frank will tell you everybody needs to do at least once. In 1961, he would graduate from Lake Weir High School and then go on to pursue his education at the University of Florida. That Christmas, Frank married his high school sweetheart, Patricia Williams. After 1 year at the University of Florida, Frank would return home to get an associate's degree from the College of Central Florida. He did so by going to school at night and working during the day for his in-laws on their citrus and cattle operation. Frank and Patty would go on to have 2 sons, Daryl and Darren. They were raised just like Frank, to love sports and to know what hard work is. Frank was also able to coach some of their Marion County Youth Football League teams and went on to win a few championships with the Bellevue Bulldogs. Time continued to roll on for Frank, and in the early 70s, he decided that citrus trees were growing a little too slow for his liking. He needed some cash flow. So just like any entrepreneur would do, Frank found a way to hustle his own money through day working, baling hay, and anything that he could do to pay the bills. It was then that all those hot days he spent as a kid in the melon field would come back and be his rescue. If you ask him, Frank will tell you himself, his first melon crop was done half out of desperation and half out of necessity. And we all know that's what farming is anyway. After paying a few high schoolers at harvest time to get the melons on the truck, Frank was able to make $1,000 profit on his first melon crop. And to this day, Mr. Smith is proud to say that after 40 years of farming watermelons and 50 crops under his belt, he has never lost money on a melon crop. Slicing melons aside, Frank knew early on in 4-H that cattle would always be a big part of his life. He started on the 100 acres left to him by his father, and with time and a growing book of connections, the opportunity to expand presented itself. First, a joint purchase with Brother Perry in 1983, then another piece from the Bank of Pahokee, and the hooves began to multiply statewide. More land brought more melons, and more profitable melons meant more cattle. Though others branched out to Georgia and Alabama, Frank and Perry stayed in the Sunshine State. Moves like these keep words Frank speaks always in our ears, saying, "The only thing for sure is that things change. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, but they will change." That statement was proven true with memories of those Frank has missed. 2011 took longtime employee Mike Matheny after a tragic car accident. 3 weeks later, Frank would also lose his soulmate of nearly 50 years, Miss Patty. No one knows better than he that struggles make us who we are, and our memories of those we have lost last forever. He carries their legacy with the cattle operation and melling farming that he continues today. Cattle remain statewide, but the melons stay close to home in Marion County. Mr. Smith has expanded the feeding operation with a new twist. He has created his own corn silage feeding ration, and he is targeting the booming ground beef market. He feeds nearly 12.5 tons a day to 2,000 head each winter. Frank enjoys each day and takes it all in, feeling sorry for the one who dreads going to work every day. Today he keeps an inventory, 2 sons, 2 granddaughters, a lady friend, 3 horses, 5 cow dogs, and his cow herd that keeps on growing. Please help us in welcoming 2014 inductee into the Marion County Ag Hall of Fame, Frank Smith.